The Great Hall of the Galactic Council looked different now. It was the same building floating in the same empty space between the same ancient stars. But everything had changed. The representatives who filled the hall were the same creatures of scales and feathers and light. But the way they looked at the human delegation was completely different. Before, they had looked at humans with amusement and pity. Now they looked at them with fear and respect. Ambassador Minho walked into the hall with the same slow and careful steps he had used months ago. His assistant Jisoo walked behind him, just like before. But this time, they were not alone. Admiral Taeyeon walked on Minho's right side, wearing his full military uniform covered in medals. Commander Yuna walked on his left, her eyes hard and watchful. Behind them came a dozen human soldiers in combat armor, a silent reminder of what humanity was capable of. The council speaker rose from his seat. He was the same creature made of blue light who had watched the Valari threaten humanity and done nothing. His voice was nervous now, almost frightened. Ambassador Minho, we welcome you back to the Galactic Council. We are glad that the recent conflict has ended. Minho stopped in the center of the hall, exactly where he had stood when High Commander Vorax had grabbed him by the throat. He looked around at all the alien faces. So many of them had laughed at him that day. None of them were laughing now. The conflict has ended, Minho agreed. The Valari Empire has surrendered. High Commander Vorax and his officers are being held for trial. The people of Vela Prime are no longer slaves to their military government. They are free to build a new society. That is very generous of humanity, said the speaker. We did not expect such mercy after what the Valari did to your colony. No, you expected us to burn their world like they burned ours. You expected us to kill their children like they killed ours. That is what you would have done. That is what most empires in this galaxy have done throughout history. Minho's voice was calm but heavy with sadness. But we are not like you. We fight when we must. We destroy what threatens us. But we do not enjoy cruelty. We do not take pleasure in suffering. When the war is over, we stop. A representative with silver skin spoke up. It was the same one who had urged restraint months ago when humanity's fleet was first revealed. Ambassador, the Council would like to discuss the future. Humanity has proven itself to be the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Many of us are concerned about what you will do with that power. Minho looked at him for a long moment. Then he laughed. It was not a cruel laugh or a mocking laugh. It was the tired laugh of a man who had seen too much. You are afraid of us. After all these years of dismissing us, ignoring us, treating us like children, now you are afraid. Yes, the silver being admitted. We are afraid. You defeated the Valari in 3 weeks. No one has ever done that. If you decide to conquer the galaxy, no one could stop you. We have no interest in conquering the galaxy, Admiral Taeyeon said. His voice was deep and steady, the voice of a man who had commanded thousands of ships in battle. We never wanted power over others. We only wanted to be left alone, to live in peace, to raise our children, to build beautiful things and explore the stars. That is all we ever wanted. Then why did you build such a massive fleet? Another representative asked. Why did you spend 300 years preparing for war if you wanted peace? Commander Yuna answered this question. Her voice was sharp with barely contained anger. Because of you. Because we looked at this galaxy and saw what happened to peaceful species. We saw the Valari conquer world after world. We saw other empires enslave entire civilizations. We saw that no one in this council lifted a finger to stop any of it. You talk about peace, but you only protect the strong. The weak are left to die. She stepped forward, and several alien representatives flinched back in their seats. We built our fleet because we knew that someday someone would see our peaceful nature as weakness. Someday, someone would try to do to us what the Valari did to so many others. We hoped that day would never come, but we prepared for it anyway. And when it did come, we were ready. Minho raised his hand gently, and Yuna stepped back. The ambassador turned to address the full council. Humanity has a message for the galaxy, he said. We will share this message once, and we will not repeat it. Listen carefully. The hall was completely silent. Every alien watched the human ambassador with absolute attention. We want peace. That has not changed. We have no desire to rule over other species. We have no interest in building an empire. We will return to our own space, and we will continue to live as we always have. Our scientists will study the stars. Our artists will create beauty. Our children will play in parks and dream of the future. He paused, letting his words sink in. But we will not be victims. Not ever again. We have shown you what we can do. We have shown you the power we kept hidden for 3 centuries. Remember that power. Remember what happens when you push us too far. Remember, Titan, not for the humans who died there, but for the Valari who learned too late that we were not prey. Minho looked directly at the council speaker. His kind eyes turned to cold steel. If anyone in this galaxy ever threatens humanity again, if anyone attacks our worlds or our people, we will not beg for mercy. We will not warn you twice. We will simply come for you. And we will not stop until you are defeated completely. This is not a threat. This is a promise. This is the truth of what humanity is. He turned to leave, then stopped and looked back over his shoulder. We begged you not to make us angry. We begged the Valari. We begged this council. No one listened. Now you understand why we begged. Not because we were weak, but because we knew what would happen when you forced us to fight. We knew the cost in blood and pain and grief. We did not want to pay that cost, but you made us pay it anyway. His voice softened, filled with genuine sorrow. We are going home now. We are going to mourn our dead. We are going to hold our children close and try to forget the terrible things we had to do. And we hope, truly hope, that we never have to do them again. We hope that this galaxy has finally learned its lesson. He walked out of the Great Hall, followed by his delegation. The alien representatives watched them go in stunned silence. 3 months later, life on Earth was slowly returning to normal. The secret fleet had returned to its hidden bases. The weapons platforms had gone back to sleep. The soldiers had come home to their families. On a hillside overlooking Seoul, Commander Yuna sat with her 2 nephews. The boys were 7 and 9 years old now, orphans who did not fully understand why their mother was never coming back. Yuna had adopted them. She was the only family they had left. "Aunt Yuna," said the younger one, looking up at the stars appearing in the evening sky. "Are there monsters out there?" Yuna thought about the Valari. She thought about the battle. She thought about all the aliens who had watched humanity suffer and done nothing. "There are beings out there who do bad things," she said carefully. "But we do not have to be afraid of them. Why not? Because we are strong enough to protect ourselves. And because being afraid does not help anyone. We just have to be brave and take care of each other." The older boy was quiet for a moment. Then he asked, "Was my mom brave?" Yuna felt tears forming in her eyes. She pulled both boys close and held them tight. "Your mother was the bravest person I ever knew. She stayed behind so that others could escape. She gave her life so that you could live. I want you to remember that. I want you to grow up to be as brave and kind as she was." The boys hugged her back. They did not fully understand war or death or the complicated feelings that came with victory. But they understood love. They understood family. And that was enough for now. Across the galaxy, the story of humanity's war against the Valari spread to every civilization. It was told and retold, growing into legend. the species that had hidden their strength for 300 years. The peaceful people who became the most fearsome warriors when pushed too far. The civilization that begged its enemies not to make them angry, that no one laughed at that begging anymore. No one dismissed humans as weak or primitive. When human ships appeared in an alien port, other species treated them with respect. When human diplomats spoke in the Galactic Council, everyone listened. And when young aliens asked their parents about the dangerous species in the galaxy, they were always told the same thing. Never threaten the humans. Never attack their homes. Never hurt their children. Because they will warn you first. They will beg you to choose peace. But if you ignore their warnings, if you make them angry, they will destroy you. The Valari learned that lesson too late. Do not make the same mistake. On Earth, Ambassador Minho retired from diplomatic service. He spent his remaining years teaching young people about peace and the terrible cost of war. He told them about Titan. He told them about the Valari. He told them about the 3 million lives that had been lost because someone refused to listen. Always try for peace first, he would say to his students. Always give your enemy a chance to choose differently. Beg them if you have to. But never, ever let anyone mistake your desire for peace as weakness. Because when peace fails, you must be ready to do what needs to be done. And you must never apologize for protecting the people you love. The universe had learned its lesson. The Valari homeworld was called Velar Prime. It was a massive planet covered in jungles and swamps, orbited by 3 moons that had been turned into military fortresses. For 1,000 years, no enemy had ever reached this system. The Valari believed they were untouchable. They believed their empire would last forever. High Commander Vorax sat on his throne in the Great Palace, celebrating his victory at Titan. Around him, his generals and advisors drank and laughed. They told stories about the pathetic humans who had begged for mercy. They made jokes about turning Earth into a slave world. They were so confident in their power that they did not even bother watching their sensors. That was their first mistake. Lieutenant Hannah flew her fighter at the front of the Black Star Squadron. Behind her came 5,000 other fighters, spread out across the darkness of space like a swarm of angry wasps. They had traveled through empty space for 3 days, using routes that no alien had ever mapped. Now they were approaching the first line of Valari defense stations. All pilots, weapons hot, said Squadron Leader Teeman. Remember your training. Hit your targets and keep moving. Do not stop for anything. Hannah felt calm. The fear she had felt before was gone, replaced by cold focus. She thought about Titan. She thought about the 3 million dead. She thought about the children who had been playing in the parks before the Valari came. Her hands tightened on the controls. Black stars, engage. The fighters accelerated to attack speed. The Valari defense stations did not see them coming until it was too late. Human weapons tore through shields and armor like paper. Station after station exploded in balls of fire. The Valari soldiers inside died before they could even understand what was happening. Behind the fighters came the main fleet. Admiral Taeum stood on the bridge of his flagship, a massive ship called the Titan's Memory. The name had been chosen carefully. Every ship in the fleet carried the names of those who had died. Every weapon was fired in their honor. "Admiral," said his tactical officer, "the enemy is scrambling their defense fleet. They had approximately 3,000 ships. How many do we have in this attack group?" 8,000, sir." Taeyan allowed himself a small smile. "Then it will be a fair fight." For them, the 2 fleets met in the space between Vela Prime's moons. It was the largest naval battle the galaxy had ever seen. Thousands of ships traded fire across millions of kilometers. Explosions lit up the darkness like new stars being born. The Valari fought hard. They were experienced warriors who had conquered hundreds of worlds. But they had never faced an enemy like humanity. Human ships were faster and more agile. Human weapons were more accurate. Human tactics were unpredictable and creative. The Valari commanders gave orders, but by the time those orders reached their ships, the humans had already changed position. Commander Yuna led a strike force directly at the largest Valari battleship. Her crew had volunteered for this mission, knowing it would be dangerous. They had all lost someone at Titan. They all wanted revenge. Target their engines first, Yuna ordered. Then their weapons. I want that ship dead in space before we finish them. Her ships danced around the massive battleship, avoiding its heavy guns while striking at weak points. The Valari captain tried to turn his ship, tried to bring his main weapons to bear, but Yuna was always one step ahead. She had studied Valari tactics for months. She knew how they thought. She knew how to beat them. The battleship's engines exploded. Then its weapons went silent. Yuna brought her ship close to the bridge section and opened a communication channel. Valari Commander, this is Commander Yuna of the human fleet. Your ship is disabled. Surrender now, and your crew will be treated fairly. The Valari captain's face appeared on screen. He was bleeding from a wound on his head, and his yellow eyes were wide with disbelief. Impossible. How can you do this? You are supposed to be weak. You are supposed to be prey. We were never weak, Yuna said. We just chose not to show our strength. We hoped we would never have to use it. But you killed 3 million of my people. You killed my sister. So now you see what we really are. The captain lowered his head. I surrender. Please, spare my crew. Your crew will live. But remember this day. Remember that humanity gave you mercy even after you gave us none. The battle lasted 6 hours. When it was over, the Valari defense fleet was destroyed. Over 2,000 of their ships had been reduced to burning wreckage. Humanity had lost only 300 ships. The ratio was shocking. The galaxy had never seen such a one-sided victory against such a powerful empire. On Veloprime, High Commander Vorax finally understood the danger. His celebration had turned to panic. Reports flooded in from across the empire. Human fleets were attacking everywhere. Colony worlds were being captured. Military bases were being destroyed. The empire that had taken 1,000 years to build was falling apart in a matter of days. How is this possible? Vorax screamed at his advisors. Where did they get this power? Where did they hide all these ships? No one had answers. No one understood. They had all believed the humans were weak. They had all laughed at the ambassador's warnings. Now those warnings echoed in their minds like curses. Ambassador Minho's voice. Do not make us angry. You do not understand what we are capable of. They understood now. Pilot Hana and her squadron flew mission after mission. They destroyed supply lines. They eliminated command centers. They freed prisoners from Valari work camps, including humans who had been captured from smaller colonies. Each victory was dedicated to the dead of Titan. Each enemy killed was a small payment for the 3 million lives that had been stolen. But Hana took no pleasure in the killing. She did what needed to be done, nothing more. When she slept, she did not dream of glory. She dreamed of the day when the fighting would end. She dreamed of going home. After 2 weeks of constant warfare, the Valari Empire was broken. Their fleet was scattered. Their colonies had surrendered or been conquered. Only Veloprime remained under their control, surrounded by human ships, waiting for the final blow. Admiral Tayan sent a message to High Commander Vorax. Your empire is finished. Your fleet is destroyed. You have 2 choices. Surrender unconditionally and face justice for your crimes. Or refuse and watch your homeworld burn like Titan burned. Vorax sat alone in his palace. His generals had abandoned him. His soldiers had stopped fighting. Everything he had built was gone. He thought about the human ambassador who had stood before him in the Galactic Council. He thought about how he had grabbed the old man by the throat and thrown him to the ground. He thought about how he had laughed at the warning. Remember that I begged you to choose peace. When the fire comes, remember that you had a choice. Vorax had made his choice, and now he would pay the price. He opened the channel to the human fleet. His voice was broken and empty. I surrender. The Valari Empire surrenders. Please. Please show us the mercy we did not show you. Admiral Tahan's response was cold but fair. We will accept your surrender. Your people will not be harmed. But you, High Commander Vorax, will answer for Titan. You will answer for every life you took. Justice will be served. The war was over. Humanity had won. But there was no celebration. There was only exhaustion and grief. They had proven that they were not weak. They had shown the galaxy what happened when someone pushed them too far. But they had also been forced to become something they had hoped to leave behind as the human fleet surrounded Vela Prime. The soldiers looked down at the conquered world and felt not pride, but sadness. They had not wanted this. They had begged for peace. But no one had listened, and now everyone would remember why they should have. Deep beneath the surface of Earth, in places no satellite could see and no alien spy could find, the machines were waking up. For 300 years, humanity had been preparing for a day they hoped would never come. A day when someone would finally push them too far. A day when peace would no longer be an option. General Suji stood in the command center buried 5 kilometers under the mountains of Korea. Around her, hundreds of officers worked at their stations, activating systems that had been sleeping for generations. The screens on the walls showed images from across the planet. Secret bases hidden under oceans. Weapons platforms disguised as asteroids. Shipyards built inside hollow moons. The true face of humanity's military power was finally showing itself. General, said Colonel Hyunwoo, her chief of operations. Protocol Zero is now 60% active. We have confirmation from all 7 continents and all orbital platforms. Estimated time to full activation is 18 hours. Suji nodded. What about the fleet? The 1st through 20th fleets are already assembled in the shadow of Jupiter. The 21st through 50th are launching from underground bases as we speak. Total ship count is approaching 12,000 with another 8,000 in reserve. 20,000 warships. It was a number that would make any alien empire tremble. And the Valari had no idea. They thought humanity had only a few hundred small defense vessels. They thought they were attacking farmers and scientists. They had made a terrible mistake. In another part of the command center, Ambassador Minho watched the preparations with sad eyes. He had not slept since Titan. Every time he closed his eyes, he saw the faces of the dead. He heard their screams. He had tried so hard to prevent this war. He had begged the Valari to choose peace. But they had laughed at him. They had called him weak. Dr. Minji approached him with a cup of tea. She was the head of the Psychological Warfare Division, a small woman with glasses and a gentle smile that hid a sharp mind. You should rest, Ambassador. The fighting will begin soon, and we will need you strong. Minho took the tea but did not drink it. Do you know how many people died on Titan, Doctor? 3,200,047. We have the exact number. 3 million people. Mothers and fathers. Children and grandparents. All dead because I failed to convince the Valari to leave us alone. Minji shook her head. You did not fail, Ambassador. You gave them every chance. You warned them. You begged them. They chose not to listen. Their choices are not your fault. Then why do I feel like I have blood on my hands? Because you are a good person. Good people always feel responsible for the evil that others do. But you must not let that guilt destroy you. We need your voice, Ambassador. When this war is over, someone will have to speak for humanity again. Someone will have to build peace from the ashes. That person must be you." Minho looked at her for a long moment. Then he nodded slowly. "You are right. I cannot change what happened. I can only help decide what happens next." On the surface of the moon, Lieutenant Hannah climbed into the cockpit of her fighter ship. She was 23 years old, with quick hands and even quicker reflexes. She had trained for combat since she was 16, preparing for a war that everyone hoped would never come. Now, that war was here, and she was ready. Her squadron was called the Black Stars, one of hundreds of elite fighter units that had been training in secret for decades. Their ships were small and fast, designed to slip past enemy defenses and strike at weak points. They were the tip of humanity's spear. "Listen up, pilots," said squadron leader Teeman over the radio. He was an old pilot, 40 years old and still flying. His voice was calm and steady. "This is not a drill. This is real. In 24 hours, we will be fighting the Valari. Many of us will die, but we will not die for nothing. We will die to protect our home. We will die to avenge Titan. We will die so that our children can live free." Hannah felt her heart beating fast in her chest. She was scared. Every pilot was scared. But fear did not matter anymore. Only duty mattered. Back on Earth, the people watched their screens in shock and amazement. For generations, they had been told that humanity was weak, that they were a small and peaceful species with no real military power. Now, they learned the truth. Their government had been lying to them. But it was a lie told out of love. A lie meant to protect them from the galaxy's attention. In Seoul, a young man named Jung-woo stood on a rooftop and watched as massive warships rose from the ocean nearby. Water fell from their hulls like waterfalls as they climbed into the sky. Each ship was the size of a small city, covered in weapons that gleamed in the sunlight. He counted 20 ships rising from that one location alone. "How?" his friend Somi asked, standing beside him. "How did they hide all of this?" "They had 300 years, Jung-woo said. "Our ancestors started building after first contact. They knew that someday someone would try to hurt us. They wanted to make sure we could fight back. But we always talked about peace. We always said we did not want war. We did not want war. But wanting peace and being unable to fight are two different things. Our ancestors were not fools. They knew that peace only works if both sides choose it. If the other side chooses violence, you must be ready to answer." In the command center, General Suji received a message from the Galactic Council. The alien representatives wanted to speak with humanity. They wanted to understand what was happening. Many of them had watched the massacre on Titan and felt nothing. Now they saw humanity's hidden fleet and felt fear. Suji connected the call. A dozen alien faces appeared on the screen, representing the most powerful empires in the galaxy. None of them were smiling anymore. "General Suji," said the council speaker, a creature made of blue light. "We did not know humanity possessed such military strength. Why did you hide this from us?" "Because we wanted to live in peace," Suji answered. "We hid our strengths so that no one would see us as a threat. We wanted to be judged by our science, our art, our kindness, not by our weapons. But now you reveal yourselves. Why? Because the Valari killed 3 million of our people. They attacked our colony without warning. They murdered children." Suji's voice grew cold. "We gave them every chance to avoid this. Ambassador Minho begged them to leave us alone. They laughed at him. They called us weak. They were wrong." The alien representatives looked at each other nervously. One of them spoke up, a tall creature with silver skin. "General, we urge you to use restraint. The Valari are powerful, but surely a diplomatic solution can still be found." Suji shook her head. "You watched Titan burn and did nothing. You let the Valari threaten us and said nothing. You do not get to talk about diplomacy anymore. Humanity will handle this ourselves. And when we are done, the galaxy will understand something very important. What is that? That humanity spent thousands of years fighting each other. We became very, very good at it. We learned how to destroy. We learned how to conquer. We learned how to make our enemies regret ever standing against us. Then we decided we did not want to be that anymore. We tried to be better. But the Valari did not want us to be better. They wanted us to be victims. So now they will meet the humanity we used to be. The humanity we hoped we would never have to become again. She ended the call and turned to her officers. How long until full activation? Colonel Hyun will check the screens. 2 hours, General. Then we will be ready. Good. Tell Admiral Taeyeon to prepare the fleet. We move at dawn. The machines kept waking up. The ships kept rising. And across the galaxy, the Valari had no idea that death was coming for them. The Great Hall of the Galactic Council was the largest structure ever built by any species in the known universe. It floated in the empty space between 3 ancient star systems, a monument to cooperation and peace. Representatives from over 2,000 alien civilizations gathered there to discuss trade, laws, and the future of all living things. The hall was filled with creatures of every shape and size. Some had scales, some had feathers, and some were made of pure light. They spoke in 1,000 different languages, but the translation machines made sure everyone understood each other. On this particular day, the hall was more crowded than usual. News had spread across the galaxy that the Valari Empire wanted to speak about the newest members of the galactic community, the humans, a species from a small blue planet in an unremarkable corner of the Milky Way. They had only discovered faster than light, travel 50 years ago, and most alien races still considered them primitive and unimportant. Ambassador Minho walked into the Great Hall with slow and careful steps. He was a tall man with gray hair and kind eyes. He had spent 30 years serving Earth as a diplomat, and he had seen many difficult situations. But nothing had prepared him for what he was about to face. Behind him walked his assistant, a young woman named Jizoo. She carried a small device that recorded everything they saw and heard. The Valari representative stood in the center of the hall. His name was High Commander Vorax, and he was massive. The Valari were a reptilian species with thick green scales and 4 powerful arms. They had conquered over 300 star systems in the past 1,000 years. Their empire was built on violence and fear. Vorax looked down at Minho with obvious disgust. "So this is the human ambassador," Vorax said. His voice was deep and rough, like stones grinding together. "I expected something more impressive." Minho smiled politely. He had dealt with bullies before. "I am honored to stand before the Galactic Council," he said. "Earth wishes only for peace and friendship with all species." Vorax laughed. It was an ugly sound that echoed through the hall. Many of the other representatives laughed with him. They knew it was wise to stay on the Valari's good side. "Peace?" Vorax repeated the word like it was a joke. "Your species is weak. You have no great fleet. You have no powerful weapons. You have nothing that we want except your labor." Minho felt Jizoo tense behind him, but he remained calm. "I am not sure I understand your meaning, High Commander." Vorax stepped closer. He towered over the human ambassador by at least 2 meters. "Let me speak clearly so your simple mind can understand. The Valari Empire has decided to claim your planet and all your colonies. Your people will serve us. You will work in our mines and our factories. This is not a request. This is a fact." A murmur spread through the hall. Some representatives looked uncomfortable, but none of them spoke against Vorax. The Valari were too powerful. No one wanted to make them angry. Minho took a deep breath. He looked around the hall at all the alien faces watching him. Then he looked back at Vorax. "Hi, Commander. I must warn you. Humanity does not want war. We have spent our entire history fighting each other, and we are tired of blood. We came to the stars hoping to find something better. Please do not force us to become what we used to be." Vorax grabbed Minho by the collar of his uniform and lifted him off the ground with one arm. "Are you threatening me, little human?" Minho did not struggle. He did not show fear. He simply looked into the alien's yellow eyes and spoke in a quiet voice. "I am begging you. Do not make us angry. You do not understand what we are capable of." Vorax threw Minho to the ground and laughed again. "Your begging means nothing. In 1 month, our fleet will arrive at your home world. Prepare your people for their new lives as slaves." Jisoo helped Minho stand up. Her hands were shaking with anger, but Minho gently touched her shoulder to calm her down. He straightened his uniform and faced Vorax one last time. "I will deliver your message to Earth," Minho said. "But I want you to remember this moment, High Commander. Remember that I warned you. Remember that I begged you to choose peace. When the fire comes, remember that you had a choice." Vorax dismissed him with a wave of his massive hand. "Get out of my sight, human. Go home and tell your people to prepare." Minho and Jisoo walked out of the Great Hall in silence. The other representatives watched them go. Some felt pity for the humans. Others felt nothing at all. The Valari was strong, and the humans were weak. That was just how the universe worked. On the ship back to Earth, Jisoo finally spoke. "Ambassador, what are we going to do? We cannot fight the Valari. Their fleet is 100 times larger than ours." Minho sat in his chair and looked out at the stars passing by. His kind eyes had grown cold. "Jisoo, do you know why humanity always asks others not to make us angry?" "No, sir." "Because we know what we become when we are angry. We have seen it in our history, again and again. We are capable of terrible things when someone hurts the people we love. We tried to bury that part of ourselves. We tried to become better, but it never really went away. It just went to sleep." Jisoo felt a chill run down her spine. She had never heard the ambassador speak like this before. Minho continued, "For 50 years, we have hidden our true strength from the galaxy. We showed them only our scientists, our artists, our diplomats. We wanted them to see us as peaceful. We wanted to believe we had changed. But the Valari have made their choice. They have chosen to wake the sleeping giant." He pressed a button on his chair and opened a secure channel to Earth. A woman's face appeared on the screen. She had sharp features and eyes like steel. Her name was General Suji, and she was the commander of Earth's secret military forces. "Ambassador," she said, "I saw the broadcast. What are your orders?" Minho's voice was steady and cold. "General, activate Protocol Zero. Wake up everything. It is time to show the universe why they should have listened when we begged them to leave us alone." General Suji nodded once. "Understood, sir." God help them all. The screen went dark. Minho closed his eyes and thought about all the blood that was about to be spilled. He had tried so hard to prevent this. He had begged and pleaded and warned. But no one had listened. No one ever listened. And now, the universe would learn why that was a mistake. The colony on Titan was home to 3 million people. It was humanity's largest settlement outside of Earth, a shining city built under a massive dome that protected its citizens from the frozen moon's deadly atmosphere. Children played in parks filled with trees and flowers. Families gathered in restaurants and theaters. Scientists worked in laboratories, dreaming of new discoveries. Life on Titan was peaceful and full of hope. Commander Yuna stood on the bridge of the defense station, orbiting high above the colony. She was a woman in her early 40s, with short black hair and calm, steady hands. She had served in Earth's small fleet for 20 years, but she had never seen real combat. Humanity's encounters with other species had always been peaceful. Until now. "Commander," said Lieutenant Junho, her second in command. He was young and nervous, barely 25 years old. "Long-range sensors are detecting a large fleet approaching our position. Over 500 ships." Yuna felt her heart grow heavy. The Valari had come early. They were supposed to have one more month. Have they responded to our communications? No, ma'am. They are ignoring all our messages. Yuna looked out the window at the beautiful colony below. All those people. All those families. She had a sister down there and 2 young nephews. "Begin evacuation procedures immediately. Get everyone to the emergency shelters and prepare all transport ships." The alarm started to sound across the station and down on the colony. People looked up from their daily lives in confusion and fear. They had heard rumors about the Valari threat, but most of them had not believed it would really happen. Earth was supposed to be handling the situation. Earth was supposed to keep them safe. Captain Deho ran onto the bridge. He was the commander of the small defense force stationed at Titan. Only 12 ships against the coming storm. His face was pale but determined. "Commander, what are your orders? Should we engage the enemy?" Yuna shook her head. "No, we cannot win this fight. Our only job now is to buy time for the evacuation and record everything that happens. The universe needs to see what the Valari do here today. Record it? Why? Because when humanity responds, we need the galaxy to understand why." The Valari fleet arrived like a swarm of angry insects. Their ships were ugly and brutal, designed only for war. They surrounded Titan in minutes, blocking any escape routes. A message finally came through on the communication channel. It was High Commander Vorax himself. "Attention, human colony. You have been claimed by the Valari Empire. Surrender immediately, and your lives will be spared. You will be taken to work camps where you will serve your new masters. Resist, and you will be destroyed." Yuna opened a channel to respond. "This is Commander Yuna of the Titan Defense Force. We are a civilian colony. There are 3 million innocent people here, including children. Please, let us evacuate. We will leave this moon to you. Just let our people go." Vorax laughed through the speakers. "Your begging is pathetic, human. Just like your ambassador. You have 30 minutes to surrender. After that, we will demonstrate what happens to those who waste our time." The channel closed. Yuna looked at her crew. Many of them were crying silently. Others were shaking with fear. But they all stayed at their posts. They all did their jobs. Down on the colony, the evacuation was chaos. 3 million people tried to reach the transport ships, but there were not enough seats for everyone. Parents pushed their children forward, giving up their own places. Old people sat down on benches and told others to go without them. The best and worst of humanity showed itself in those desperate minutes. Yuna's sister Yumbi managed to get the 2 boys onto a transport ship. She called Yuna on a private channel, her face wet with tears. "I am sending them to Earth. Please keep them safe." "I will do everything I can," Yuna promised. "Now go, get on a ship. There is no room. I am staying behind." "Umbi, no. Take care of my sons, sister. Tell them I love them." The channel closed. Yuna screamed her sister's name, but there was no answer. The 30 minutes ended too quickly. The Valari fleet began to move. Captain Deho led his 12 ships forward in a hopeless charge, trying to buy a few more minutes for the escaping transports. His pilots were brave young men and women who knew they were going to die. They fought anyway. This is Captain Deho to all ships. Remember why we fight. Remember who we protect. Make every second count. The battle lasted only 8 minutes. The human ships were destroyed one by one, their crews dying in fire and silence. Daeho's ship was the last to fall. Before his ship exploded, he managed to send one final message back to the station. Commander Yuna, I hope this was enough. I hope we save some of them. Tell Earth. Tell them we did our best. Then there was only silence. The Volari fleet did not wait any longer. They opened fire on the colony itself. The great dome shattered like glass. The air escaped into space, and the frozen death of Titan rushed in. Buildings collapsed. People died in the streets, their bodies freezing in seconds. 3 million lives ended in less than an hour. Yuna watched it all happen. She recorded everything through the station's cameras. Every death, every scream, every moment of horror. Tears ran down her face, but she did not look away. This was her duty now. This was her burden to carry. When it was over, Vorax sent another message. Let this be a lesson to all humans. This is what happens when you make the Volari wait. Your other colonies will be next. Surrender your home world, or we will do this again and again until none of you remain. The Volari fleet left Titan behind, a frozen graveyard floating in the darkness of space. The transport ships that had escaped were already on their way to Earth, carrying news of the massacre. Among the survivors were Yuna's 2 nephews, orphans now, clutching each other in the darkness of the cargo hold. Yuna stayed at her station for a long time after the enemy left. She looked at the ruins of the colony where her sister had died, where millions of innocent people had died. She thought about their screams. She thought about the children who had been playing in the parks just hours ago. Then she opened a channel to Earth. General Suji's face appeared on the screen. Commander Yuna, the general said, we received your recordings. The entire planet has seen what happened. Good, Yuna said. Her voice was empty of emotion, burned clean by grief. What happens now? Now? General Suji's eyes were hard as stone. Now we show the Volari what humanity really is. Ambassador Minho has given the order. Protocol 0 is active. Every hidden base, every secret ship, every weapon we have spent centuries building in silence. It is all waking up. The Volari wanted war. They will get more war than they ever imagined. Yuna nodded slowly. I want to be part of it. I want to fight. You will, Commander. Return to Earth. There is a fleet waiting for you. The largest fleet humanity has ever built. And you are going to help lead it into the heart of the Volari Empire. Yuna looked one last time at the frozen ruins of Titan. She thought about Yumbi. She thought about all the people who had died, begging for mercy that never came. They should have listened, she whispered to herself. They really should have listened. Then she turned her ship toward Earth, toward the fire that was waiting to be unleashed.